back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Terrific Plays Building St.Vista on CitiesSkylines. So, as the title of the episode suggests that you just saw, we are going to build TriffLand, the amusement park. And this is going to be the location that we build this glorious amusement park. And I've done a little bit of terraforming already, not too much. What I kind of want to do is I kind of want to have the park kind of segmented out into 3 different layers. And the main attraction of the park is going to be the space elevator. It kind of reminds me of Spaceship Earth down in Epcot Center in Orlando at Disney World. But we also got a whole bunch of other assets that I want to show you before we actually start building. Let me go over somewhere else to lay them out for you guys. So we have a few of them that are from the vanilla game. The carousel and the moon bounce, and I got some other ones that you guys may have already seen. Like I'm sure a lot of people have already downloaded this awesome After Dark Ferris wheel, and there's a new one that just popped up, the bumper cars. And for all these assets, I'm gonna have links in the description, so please go out, check links to the description, then go directly to the asset on the Steam Workshop so you guys can download them yourself. Got this cool little go-kart track. I've already used him down in Bailey, but you know, you need go-karts at an amusement park, so it's cool. Another little carousel that I found on the Steam Workshop. A lot of really, really awesome assets. That is not what I want. That's like a whole little tiny amusement park. I don't think we'll use him. I think we're gonna kind of want to build this all custom. I got some roller coasters over here as well. These guys are unique buildings, and at first the LOD was kind of weird, like it'd flake out if it would disappear if you zoom out too far. But I found a mod by Bloody Penguin, also linked in the description, that is the adaptive LOD toggler thingy of science. You'll see it down there. But what it does is, like, depending on how large an asset is, that's what determines what its LOD is, like when it'll disappear. So if it's a really large asset, it won't disappear when you zoom out, and if it's small, you know, it will disappear because you can't really see it. Well, let's go ahead and get started on the construction. So first things first is we need to build a parking facility for our amusement park. So that's kind of what I'm doing right here, and I'm going to enclose the entire park in the castle walls. We're going to make it work for the theme. I wish I could find some better ones in the Steam Workshop. But I really haven't found anything. Maybe I'm not searching for it right, but it is what it is. And I have no idea why I built this parking lot on a curve as opposed to like a grid, because this thing was a pain to get right. There's like hours of footage that I just cut out of getting this parking lot right. And you see that I'm kind of done with it there? No, not so much. We'll come back to it a little bit later. But right here I'm kind of laying out some of the roads that I'm, that are going to be like the layout of the actual amusement park itself. And I went ahead and I placed the space elevator. And I did not realize how much traffic dumped out of that guy. I was not expecting that at all. I mean, I know we're sped up pretty fast right here. We're like at 32x, I think, and you can only get glimpses of the actual traffic coming out. But man, it is crazy, and it just wouldn't look good in the park. So here I'm trying to implement like a tram service to try to, help ease that. Not really happening. Cars are still flowing out of it like crazy. So I lay in a subway system. Well, I begin laying in a subway system to help, ease some of that traffic. And still, I mean, it is bumper to bumper. I was not expecting the amount of traffic coming out of that guy as there is. So what I ended up having to do is I have to completely cut off car and truck traffic from the Space Center to get that to stop. But anyways, as you can see, I'm laying down, the attractions, just trying to get them in, their general spot, where they're going to end up living, and, just trying to make everything fit. I mean, it's a fairly large area, but with the way I have everything laid out, it's not the most efficient use of space, but I didn't necessarily want it to be the most efficient use of space. Typically, you go to an amusement park, and everything's not in a grid. You got to walk all over the place. It kind of gives the impression that the park is bigger than it really is. So, and I don't know. You see them laying down these poles, and the amusement parks that are around my neck of the woods in the southeastern United States, they typically have a few either water rides or like an actual little water park. Like Six Flags over Georgia has its own little water park inside Six Flags now, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's nothing too crazy, too fancy, but and with this being a tropical island in a tropical scenario, I think it was kind of fitting to throw some pools and some water slides and whatnot up there. So over here, I'm trying to build some shops and hotels and things of that nature. Kind of going back towards how Disney World does it in Orlando, where they have the resorts right there on premise of the amusement park. And then right here, you can see that I'm using decals to give the roads a bricked look. And I was looking at a few different mods to do this. There was network extensions, but it didn't really have, from what I could tell, it wouldn't allow me to have this type of road. And then there was more better roads is another mod, I believe that's called, and it did have different road types like I wanted, but they were blue and pink and not normal roads that you would typically expect to see, cobblestone roads or brick roads or things of that nature. So I ended up just using the decals. They turned out pretty good. I do have one little gripe about them, is that when you go into first person mode, they kind of clip out, I guess is the right word to say, where they'll disappear a little bit. So it kind of looks a little but in the end I do like the overall look. So right here we are building the ticketing facility, and this comprises of two buildings. One building that I found in the Steam workshop. I've looked for a while, and that was the best I could find. It's linked down in the description. But then over here, I built my own little custom one, with just the picnic pavilion and a little office shed thing I found. And I found these cool little I think it came from a tram station, and it's the little turnstile prop. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm just kind of building a custom one of those out, and then we're just going to do a little bit more detail work. So there's one thing that I do want to kind of touch back on while I'm doing some foliage and whatnot, is that if you remember in the earlier in the episode, I was saying that I was getting so much traffic from the space elevator, and then I basically had to cut off road access to it to alleviate the traffic. So what I did, I was having problems with dead people, garbage, police and fire for the businesses and hotels at the little resort area that I built. So what I ended up having to do is make a one-way going in and just making the cars despawn, and that did alleviate the problem. Prior to that though, I had no way for them to get in, and I don't know if that was the main cause, but that set off a not enough goods to sell scenario. Not just for that bit of the park, but for the entire city, because that commercial that I had in there wasn't able to get any sort of goods to sell. And so those guys started, I think it's a little icon with it's a little blue bird kind of looking thing. I don't know. But yeah, so I started seeing those, and then I came out of build mode and looked around the city, and the whole city, probably about half my commercial died. So what I had to end up doing was making that, just one-way access into the park from the outside of the city, so goods could get delivered, and that resolved the issue. So if you guys are, having any weird issues like that, look and see if you have some commercial areas that have no connections to the outside world. I did put a little tiny bit of industry inside of the park, to see if that would help, and it didn't help. The only way I could get it to, get to have where we did have enough goods to sell was by putting that one-way road into the park. So I hope that's a helpful suggestion if you guys are having that problem. But right here, we're just going to kind of fill out the rest of the open space, and pretty much what I want to do is like have like little places to, grab a bite to eat, or, go to the restroom, souvenir shops, and I'm pretty much putting these little facilities in, open places and kind of places where it would make sense to have, gift shops and stuff, like at the entrance or exit of a ride, and I think it turned out really good. I like the way everything looks. I wish I did have some more textures to put on the road, but it is what it is. I was taking a look at the CitiesSkylines modding subreddit this morning, and I saw that Bowformers actually put out a new mod in alpha, the Network Skins preview, that's gonna allow you to retexture roads and keys and all kinds of stuff, and that's awesome. That's exactly what I wanted for this project, but unfortunately, I don't know, I guess like he telepathically saw what I was doing and saw my frustrations, and was like, I'm gonna make a mod for that dude so he can retexture his roads. So thanks, man. I'm gonna definitely download that one. That's available in the Steam Workshop. So far, the preview from what I've seen over on the forum looks really, really awesome, and looks like it's gonna be really, really cool, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. Well, guys, as you can see, we're starting to roll into some of the cinematics, so that must mean it is time to wrap up the episode. I hope you guys did enjoy. I enjoyed. This was a bit longer of an episode for me to make, but I did have a lot of fun making it. It was a little hard to edit, but I do like the way it turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy, or if you got some inspiration, please leave me a like on the video. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you did enjoy it and you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I have a few more videos that I want to do to wrap up this city. We have the airport, I want to build the racetrack, I want to get the population up to our 100K, and then finally do a large grand tour of St.Vista. But with that said, guys, I'm going to leave it to these cinematics, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next exciting episode.